I'm curious when he's crediting Fossmeyer et al. 2026. What piece of literature is he actually referencing there? Is that like the
Um,
proposed like what? I'm just unsure about what that is that he's pointing to.
yeah, that's our protocol document.
Okay.
So it's a little ambiguous there because they talk about, I mean, he sort of talks about a scoping review, and yet that's not what the reference is to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess we could clarify or try to figure out how to clarify that.
And like if we were to make some like suggestions just on even language or anything like that, would we just put it in suggestion mode and go from there, or is there an approach that we've talked about in the past that maybe I don't recall on that front? I don't know.
Um,
Like I could just put it into suggestion, and then I was just gonna tweak a few things here like that,
right.
so it'll still keep what he has. But
Megan, you're so much faster than me. You're
no,
way
no.
ahead.
I'm just curious, like in the conference pedagogy section, he references including undergrad and graduate. I thought that was part of our exclusion criteria not to have graduate.
Um, I thought we just did post-secondary at this
Okay,
point.
so it
Yeah.
does include that. Like I knew
Well,
we had some
we did talk
professional
about that.
programs, right?
Yeah, we did talk about that, but that excludes medical school, which excludes me from the equation.
You don't care
Right.
anymore.
You don't care about my contributions.
No, but is a medical school, is that not still considered undergraduate level or is that graduate level?
It's graduate level.
Okay.
So we're weird because we say undergraduate medical education, graduate medical education, but
Okay.
undergraduate medical education is a doctorate. It's an MD, a doctor of medicine. It
Right.
is
Okay.
graduate school. And you, of course, have to have an undergraduate degree in order to qualify for medical school. So it's different in other countries, but here in the US, that's standard.
Okay.
And then graduate medical education is when they get their degree and they move into residency, which is actually a paid full-time paid job where they're treating patients and everything. They still are in training, but they are moving into, they are actually a practicing physician at that point.
Right. Okay. Okay, so that stays then.
Mhm. Sorry, I'm the wordiness police.
That's what we need at this stage. That's good.
Yes, good to tighten it up.
Yeah.
I think it's very strong. Mostly I was just
Agreed.
editing for
Yeah.
wordiness because old writing teachers never die. Something a lot of people do it. It's something I call a doublet, is when you say, engaging and participating. It's like pick one. They both mean the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all rhetorical devices. You're doing it for the cadence. But yes, not so good. Not so good for.
Maybe okay in spoken language, but in writing, it's just extra words.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Are we sort of done with
I think so.
Act
Yeah.
1?
Is there anything else we need to decide about this? I think there was a question about who is first author
Yes.
and who wanted to be listed on this. I am going to be there and would love to be participating. I
Okay,
don't know what their limits are. I did submit another proposal and have another, a group research team that is submitting a proposal. So, you
yeah,
know,
so
the immersive learning team that I've been working with for over 6 years. So that would take precedence over this for me.
yeah, it's pretty unclear. That's that thing. But there's a minimum of two that you're allowed to be on. And they have this thing called primary authorship. I forget if I was talking with this group about.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't remember,
you
but
lost
I I haven't submitted anything else for this conference, so I'm happy to be on it, but not
The
as
only reason
first.
they cared about whether you were a primary person or not was for scheduling purposes, that they didn't want to have to try if you.
Oh, I think he's frozen.
Yeah, it keeps freezing up on you, Michael. We can't hear you now. I don't know if you can hear us.
Maybe write that in the chat.
So you can only submit two proposals, or you can only be on two
Primary.
sessions.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I
The
think what he
difference.
was trying to
'Cause-
say was you can only be two primary on two
Right.
primary ones,
Well, that
like
makes
as first author.
Yep, it's gone.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And, so much of it depends on which ones get accepted, right? So I don't want to
Yeah.
say no to this one, and then if the other one doesn't get accepted,
Exactly.
I don't get to participate in anything.
Yeah.
So I
Well, and it
always
sounds
put
like
in at
our
least two proposals for most conferences, and so I can at least get one accepted.
yeah.
When I'm
Well,
going
again,
to in April, I put in two workshop proposals, and they said, well, you can do a poster for this one and a workshop for that one. But the one that was better suited for the poster is the one they
tends to
selected.
be how it goes. Yeah. That's been my
I'm
experience
trying
too.
to figure out how to turn the hands-on workshop into a poster.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing sometimes.
And
You're
I got to
back,
tell you,
Michael.
I actually hate poster sessions, but I accidentally on purpose missed the deadline for accepting the poster. But then they wrote me and were like, you didn't accept this. You need to go in and accept this. I was like, okay, I guess I proposed it, so
Okay.
I
I
better
guess.
go in and say, yes, I'll
I
do a friggin' poster.
I will say though, iSettle does poster sessions better than most other conferences I've
That's
attended. So
true. Yeah, when
yeah,
we did our
there's that.
poster, this same immersive learning group, it
Yeah.
was actually a lot of fun. That was in
Yeah.
Utrecht.
Yeah, for sure. So Michael, we didn't quite catch most of what you were saying because you froze.
Yeah, our internet's been a little spotty on campus today, so I think it glitched on me. Yeah, so I mean I think like I said, I think they were not they didn't want to have to schedule somebody for 6 different time slots, so they said two primary, but then when you go to the application, when you go to submit a proposal, there isn't an option to say I'm not a primary. So it's unclear whether they mean that if you and they also say that whatever, you have to be a speaker if you want to be listed on this thing, which again, like I don't understand how they're enforcing that. But it's unclear whether that means if you're on the session, you are a primary on that session or not. So,
Right.
but and there's some issues with consistency between what's on the iSotal page and what's in the application or what's on the submission form.
I
So
guess my biggest question is, are they saying you can only be on two or you can only submit two? That is a different thing. Because I'd like to be on it, but of course, then whether I participate or not would depend on whether the other ones were accepted.
Right.
So it's hard to know which group I should say yes to if because we don't know which ones will be accepted, right?
Yeah, I know, because you don't want to get shut out. on the other
Right,
hand.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
because then you're not coming, right?
yeah.
I'm
There's
coming.
nothing
And it defeats your purpose of, so I would say that like posters don't count towards that primary list. It's only, and keynotes, if you're giving a keynote, doesn't count.
Yeah,
Right.
So, yeah, but like workshops and papers and things like that are sort of in that category. So it's unclear whether, because it says you can be on more than two in the text, but then it's unclear whether they mean that the other ones should be posters or not. Like that's sort of the ambiguity there. So, but I would say, we can just, well, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, all this is sort of moot because you're only gonna be on two, right?
right.
So it sounds like not a problem. Okay, so Meg, were you thinking about, I don't know if you were thinking about going or not, if you're not, if you didn't have like a professional reason to be there, or you said you were teaching again. So are you?
Yeah, well, I'm teaching in the K to 12 sector now. So
Okay.
Well,
um
great.
yeah, it's still kind of like uncertain as to whether I'd have something like I'm on the supply list, so I'm supply teaching as an arts educator right now. But I don't want to take anything necessarily full time for a while, so I may have the flexibility still to do it unless something really exciting comes up that I apply for in the meantime. So, but that's the plan, is to work part time for the next year or two. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
so I'm
think,
happy to keep my name on it just in case I end up going.
yeah, and I think my approach or perspective has been sort of like just to leave people's names on, um, because it doesn't hurt anything other than their number of attendees calculation, whatever that is, which seems to be the reason that they want to do that. So yeah, because you can always, worst case, change your mind one way or the other. Okay. All right. So I think we can sort of like leave everybody, probably can just sort of leave everybody on the proposal. Um, so, and then the other question is sort of like who wants to be first, right? And I don't know. Kent seems very excited about this. So
Well, he
I,
put
Yeah,
this
he's put a lot of
together.
work into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would say that either you or Nancy or Kent should be first author because you two are leading the project, but he wrote the proposal. So
yeah, and
that's,
I wouldn't necessarily I mean, because one of the questions would be who would be facilitating the actual thing, right? And maybe they
Mhm.
should be, pushed towards the front of the list.
Yep.
So, and so I don't know whether you
Well, we
two,
get to make the decision then, don't we? Kent.
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it makes
Just
sense to
decide.
have his name
Let's just
first, given the
decide.
circumstances. Yeah, definitely. He's done a
And then,
great job.
Did all the work, that's
Yeah,
only fair.
agreed.
Is it
okay.
my imagination or is you're holding your glasses together with the paper clip?
Yeah, I lost a screw. So these are my reading glasses. So I
I
just,
wasn't sure if you were
well,
holding them together, if it was just, something you kind of added as a little
Decorative.
decoration.
I,
Yeah.
if I had, I would put a little flag on it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Okay.
there's like one of those little bicycle things, rear view side mirrors. So
Yeah. That's fun.
yes.
So for Stelly, I guess our original proposal wasn't
Oh,
accepted in terms of the format we had proposed. It was what was shared last week, I guess, after the
yeah.
fact. Okay. So was it a No, it was a round table, I think, that they
Yeah, it's
suggested.
a round table, which I'm not entirely clear whether you only do one of the round tables or you do. I thought the idea was you did like three, so like three
Yeah.
people rotated through your station or something.
Yeah,
Or
that's been
or
my
three
experience with it
big
at Stelly.
groups. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I did want to sort of, check in with people and see whether they were still excited about this as being a round table. We did, I mean, as a group, we did, I think, agree that that was an okay backup program to do. I guess I'm not totally sure about funding for that sort of the sort of roundtable level. Um,
Mhm.
so I think if that is an issue, if that becomes an issue that we don't have enough people or that we or whatever, then we
Yeah.
could figure out whether
Whether
we
you
just sort of recalibrate
withdraw.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to come to that one because, I have limited travel funds.
Yeah, I think that was something that maybe half of us ish were sort of thinking about as a venue. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess I don't know. I mean, Janice said she was submitting a proposal for the bigger group, or the group of groups,
Right.
which might have some people contributing to. So I don't know. I guess the other thing is, part of the reason that we put that one in was to gather some data from people from the workshop as to like how they felt about whatever. The other question is how far we're going to be along by then in terms of like
Yeah.
having things to talk about. Are we still on a decent timeline for that or not? I think we were supposed to be I think it was supposed to be sort of in the preliminary stages, but probably so we probably wouldn't have done data analysis, but we would have finished sort of the review, maybe an extraction
Mhm.
phase. I think by then. I forget we have a timeline. We have Meg's timeline.
I think I'm less inclined to go to Stelly at this point, if it's a round table, and also because like I'm going to be paying for it myself. I'd rather wait and
Right.
see if I might go to iSOTL. I find that the depth of conversation and the connection to scholarship is much stronger at iSOTL than it would be at Stelly. So that's
Okay.
where I stand at the moment on that one.
I'm far more engaged in participating in iSodal.
Okay. All right. So we can bring that back to the group then and just see whether we want to quietly withdraw it. And focus on isodal. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So in terms of the isodal proposal author thing, so the other question is like author order stuff. Do we want to do we want to try to set some kind of order? Do we want to do it sort of alphabetically after the first one or two people or something? Does it matter? Do people care?
I mean, I
don't
think
really care.
for a conference presentation, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, same here.
A little more serious for a publication, but
There are asterisks beside your name, Rosemary, and mine. I'm not sure why.
Oh, I was just doing that.
Oh,
To
okay. I was
say
like,
people
does
are,
it have a special meaning?
yeah, no, that I was
think a little
trying to get
coming or
I was
Maybe,
trying
yeah,
to
because we're here.
yeah, exactly. You get a star. You get a star for
Okay.
okay. After Kent. So maybe we'll just do alphabetical after Kent.
okay,
Call that
Yeah.
good.
I think that's
Sounds
fine.
All right. Were there things that people wanted to sort of talk about with the proposal in terms of like were there bigger picture questions, or was it just like copy editing-ish kinds of things, and then otherwise it's good?
It's good.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I appreciate that we all had come together the time before to gain consensus around what the approach would be and what the focus would be. And I think Kent did a great job just following through with that and
Oh, he did.
articulating that really strongly.
All right.
Great.
Sounds good then. Sounds like we're ready. So I guess what I can do is just clean it up, or if people wanted to clean up their whatever edits, then
I just did suggestions, but
Yeah, same here. I just put it in suggestion mode, so then like we
okay.
can
Well,
take it over
maybe
later.
we could kick it back to Ken's and say we made
Sure.
changes and
Yeah.
he can do what he wants with it,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
when it's done, then it's ready to submit.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
And for next time, this is when we're using the AI tools to go a little bit deeper on a few. I haven't started yet, so I would imagine, like, I haven't looked, but the
I did,
recording
it was
is
pretty
available.
interesting what it did and how it sort of said, here's how you should prioritize.
Okay.
So it was interesting. I was surprised by it, but yeah, it definitely was something that I think we'll be interested to see what different answers people got using whatever prompts and different tools. I use
That too.
ChatGPT because it's the one I pay for.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people prefer Claude or Perplexity, but yeah, I tend to just keep using the one that I have paid money for because it's not an approved one, so I have to pay for it out of pocket.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna try Notebook LM, see what that does.
I hear
But
good things. I hear people like
yeah.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it a few times for things. I've enjoyed it so far. So yeah. But are all the instructions kind of there from the last session we had related to what we have to have ready for next time? I just haven't looked, but
Yeah, I can go to the
or
agenda.
I guess the recording's there if I need to access that to go back to what we were talking about.
Yeah,
Right.
people started dumping their chat logs
Oh,
into
Okay.
the March 26th meeting.
Okay.
Which I guess now is whenever the next one is. Is it?
April 9th, I think.
Yeah, I think it's April 9th.
Okay. Well, I'll do that too then when
yeah, I
a
can do
bit of
that.
time still to put that together.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you both. It's nice to see you. Good to work through this.
I know. Thanks. It's a relaxed atmosphere, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All
I
right.
have a
Well, enjoy
holiday
your long
tomorrow, so
weekend.
long weekend for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy that, Rosemary.
Yeah. What holiday is this?
Well,
Is it Black
until
Friday?
yesterday they changed the name of it. But until yesterday it was Cesar Chavez Day. And for obvious
Oh,
reasons, the
okay.
legislature voted to call it Farm Workers' Day. So
Yeah.
yeah, for obvious reasons.
Indiana does not have that. Had never had that holiday,
Of course,
even though they
yeah,
have an agricultural sector, but they don't have grape
even
workers.
in California, not everybody gets all the holidays that we get at the UC. We get like all the PC holidays. We get King Day, we get formerly Cesar Chavez Day, we get Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never worked anywhere that had quite such generous holidays as the UC has. It's nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good for you. Okay. Well, take good
Everybody
care.
have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you as
Thanks.
well. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.